Imagine a single move, just one technological leap, that could shatter the fragile balance of an entire continent. Now picture two countries with a history of bitter rivalry and unresolved conflicts, with the world's fastest rising superpower quietly lending its hand to one side. This isn't the script of a dystopian thriller, it's happening right now in South Asia. And while the world's attention drifts elsewhere, the stakes here are rising silently but inexorably. Today we're diving deep into a brewing nuclear arms race fueled by ambition, historic fears, and a shadowy alliance that could redefine the region and threaten global security. How did Pakistan, once a nation with minimal nuclear capability, suddenly leap forward into advanced missile technology and a new generation of warheads? The answer: a strategic partnership with China, driven by existential anxieties and a relentless quest for military parity with India. As you'll see, this collaboration is about far more than weapons. It's about survival, influence, and perhaps the opening act of a dangerous new era. But what exactly is happening behind closed doors? What are Pakistan and China building, and why does it matter so much to the balance of power across Asia? We'll break down the hidden mechanics, the historical backdrop, and the chilling risks that come with each new missile test. If you think nuclear deterrence is old news, think again. The story unfolding right now could be the spark for a transformative and possibly catastrophic shift in global security. Let's rewind the clock, because to truly understand the present, we need to see how we got here. The seeds of this rivalry were sown in the aftermath of colonialism and the traumatic partition of British India in 1947, which created two uneasy neighbors, India and Pakistan. Over the next decades, these nations fought several wars and countless skirmishes, with Kashmir, a stretch of mountain and forest, at the heart of their conflict. The 1971 Indo-Pakistani War was a turning point. For Pakistan, the defeat and breakup that led to Bangladesh's creation was more than a military loss. It was a national trauma, fueling a lasting sense of insecurity. The next shock came in 1974, when India conducted its first nuclear test, codenamed Smiling Buddha. For Pakistan, this was existential. Suddenly, the balance of power threatened to tilt so far that military defeat might mean annihilation. In response, Pakistan's leadership made a fateful decision: develop the bomb at any cost. The program began in top secrecy, propelled by a sense of desperation. But Pakistan faced obstacles: lack of technology, international isolation, and economic hardship. Yet where one door closed, another opened. Enter China. During the Cold War, both nations found in each other a natural ally against India's growing strength. China had already clashed with India in a bitter border war in 1962. Strategic interests aligned, and in the shadows, China helped Pakistan climb the nuclear learning curve. Chinese scientists, ring magnets for uranium enrichment, and covert technical expertise flowed across the border. Within 2 decades, Pakistan went from struggling aspirant to nuclear-armed state. In 1998, just weeks after India's own public nuclear tests, Pakistan conducted a series of tests codenamed Chagai-I, becoming the 7th declared nuclear power. The unthinkable had become reality. The age of minimum credible deterrence, where just enough bombs guaranteed survival, had dawned. But the story didn't end there. For years, both India and Pakistan maintained an uneasy standoff, each clutching its arsenal as a last resort. But as India's economy boomed and its military modernized, Pakistan began to feel outpaced. Officials in Islamabad and generals in Rawalpindi started to worry. What if India's conventional power, tanks, jets, soldiers, became so overwhelming that deterrence failed? That fear triggered the next phase: full-spectrum deterrence. No longer content to simply have nuclear weapons as a last line of defense, Pakistan began to diversify. Miniaturized warheads, tactical nuclear weapons that could be deployed on a battlefield, submarine-launched cruise missiles that could slip past enemy defenses. According to Dr. Hans M. Christensen of the Federation of American Scientists, Pakistan continues to expand its plutonium production capacity, a clear sign its ambitions go well beyond maintaining the status quo. By 2024, experts estimate Pakistan possesses up to 170 warheads, a stockpile that may soon rival or even surpass the UK's. The centerpiece is not just quantity, but quality. Pakistan is now developing the Babur-3, a submarine-launched cruise missile, and investing in sea-based nuclear deterrence. It's even exploring multiple independently targetable re-entry vehicles, MIRVs, which allow a single missile to strike several targets simultaneously. None of this would be possible without external help. The U.S. Defense Intelligence Agency's 2025 threat report makes it clear China is actively providing support, including technology transfer and strategic coordination. Intelligence sources indicate China supplied ring magnets crucial for uranium enrichment and is assisting with advanced missile technology, possibly even nuclear submarines. Why does China help? Partly it's about keeping India in check. As India's economy and diplomatic influence grow, China and Pakistan find common cause in balancing New Delhi's rise. For China, a strong, nuclear-armed Pakistan is a geopolitical asset, a counterweight on India's western flank. The result is what some analysts call entanglement, military, technological, and strategic ties that go far beyond mere friendship. But as these ties deepen, so do the risks. According to Dr. Sumit Ganguly of Indiana University, nuclear deterrence does not guarantee strategic stability in South Asia. In fact, it may do the opposite. The more weapons, delivery systems, and doctrines in play, the higher the chance of miscalculation or a disastrous accident. Pakistan's new doctrine, full-spectrum deterrence, lowers the threshold for nuclear use. Tactical nuclear weapons, designed for battlefield use, blur the line between conventional and nuclear war. One misstep, one rogue commander, could trigger devastation. The U.S. and many Western experts fear that these weapons are harder to secure, raising the specter of theft or sabotage by militants inside Pakistan. Toby Dalton, a security expert at the Carnegie Endowment, warns, concerns persist regarding the safety and security of Pakistan's tactical nuclear weapons. It's an unnerving thought. In a country grappling with recurring internal turmoil, complex political dynamics, and the presence of armed extremist groups, can the world be confident that every warhead will remain under tight control? Within Pakistan, some argue these fears are overblown. Dr. Rabia Akhtar, director at the University of Lahore, insists, Pakistan's nuclear policy is shaped by its unique security environment, and that its command and control systems are robust, designed since day one to prevent unauthorized use. To Pakistani strategists, these new capabilities are not a luxury, they're an existential necessity. On the other side, India is not standing still. In response to Pakistan's buildup and Chinese support, India is modernizing its own arsenal and deploying new missile defenses. The result? A spiraling, high-stakes arms race, where every advance by one side spurs an equal or greater response from the other. The collision of ambitions, fears, and alliances, old and new, is creating a powder keg that threatens to explode at the slightest spark. What's more, the world's most populous region is being drawn into a triple entanglement: Pakistan's growing arsenal, China's backing, and India's response, all in a region marked by history, mistrust, and periodic military crises. But what happens when technology crosses a key threshold? When China's expertise and Pakistan's ambitions produce something truly game-changing, say, a stealthy, nuclear-armed submarine that can remain undetected, or a missile system with MIRV capability capable of overwhelming existing defenses. Could such an advance tilt the entire regional balance, or even trigger a new front in the global arms race? And perhaps the most unsettling question, is the world, distracted by other crises, paying enough attention to this dangerous escalation? Or will the next surprise from South Asia catch everyone off guard? The stage is set for the second half of our story, a closer look at how this arms race could play out, who stands to gain or lose, and what the world must do now to prevent catastrophe. Now, as we step into the future, it's impossible to overstate how the stakes have changed on the subcontinent, and for the entire world. The modernization of Pakistan's nuclear arsenal, backed by a determined China, isn't just an upgrade in hardware. It's a recalibration of power and peril, with ripple effects spreading far beyond South Asia. Let's dive into what could happen next, the risks lurking just out of sight, the opportunities within this shifting chessboard, and why the world must be sharper, faster, and more vigilant. The first scenario that comes to mind is an accelerating arms race, one that's already gathering momentum. Dr. Hans M. Christensen, a top expert from the Federation of American Scientists, has warned, Pakistan continues to expand its plutonium production capacity. This isn't just about keeping pace with India, it's about staying ahead, filling perceived gaps with new warheads, new missile platforms, and technical innovations like multiple independently targetable re-entry vehicles, or MIRVs. What does it mean when both sides race to deploy more warheads, better delivery systems, and especially tactical nuclear weapons? It means a lower threshold for nuclear use, a more volatile situation where a miscalculation, a panic, or even a false alarm could spiral into disaster. But it doesn't stop at the India-Pakistan border. China's role, described by some U.S. analysts as strategic entanglement, has fundamentally altered the equation. Beijing's support for Pakistan, providing not just materials but know-how, blueprints, and even diplomatic cover, signals to New Delhi that its own deterrent must stay ahead. This pressure cooker dynamic feeds into India's efforts to augment its own triad, from submarine-launched missiles to the pursuit of hypersonic technology. Toby Dalton of the Carnegie Endowment for International Peace put it bluntly, "Concerns persist regarding the safety and security of Pakistan's tactical nuclear weapons." He's not alone. Western governments quietly worry that as Pakistan diversifies and disperses its arsenal, even placing warheads on mobile platforms or near volatile borders, the risks of theft, sabotage, or accidental launch only increase. Then there's a scenario almost too alarming to imagine. What if internal instability in Pakistan, whether from political turmoil, extremist threats, or economic collapse, compromises the country's ability to secure its arsenal? It's not scaremongering. Intelligence agencies have run these simulations for years, and the outcome is almost always the same: regional panic, global emergency meetings, and a mad scramble by neighbors and great powers to contain the fallout, both literal and diplomatic. At the same time, there are unpredictable opportunities. Is there a chance, however slim, for new arms control talks, technology sharing deals to enhance safety, or confidence-building steps between India and Pakistan? Dr. Rabia Akhtar from the University of Lahore believes Pakistan's nuclear policy is shaped by its unique security environment, but she also notes that shifting political winds and generational changes could open a window for dialogue. If both sides could agree to transparency around new technologies, such as advance notification of missile tests or hotlines between military command centers, it might just slow the arms race and reduce the risk of catastrophic mistakes. Emerging technology will play an ever larger role. Artificial intelligence and autonomous systems could soon be woven into early warning networks and command and control links, making split-second decisions that used to be the exclusive domain of humans. That might sound reassuring, but it brings new dangers. What happens if an algorithm mistakes a flock of birds for incoming missiles? Or if cyber attacks disrupt nuclear launch authority? The more complexity is added, the more potential there is for disaster, even as the aim is greater security. Looking further ahead, the spread of missile technology, underwater platforms, and advanced surveillance will pressure not just India and Pakistan, but the broader region: Bangladesh, Iran, the Gulf states, and even Southeast Asia. Arms control experts warn that the South Asian model of rapid, opaque nuclear expansion could become a template for other flashpoints around the globe if it goes unchecked. So, what practical lessons should we draw from this? It's tempting to think all of this happens in the rarefied world of generals and diplomats, far above ordinary lives. But the consequences and the responsibilities are far more personal. First, this is a powerful reminder that technology alone doesn't solve ancient rivalries or deep-seated anxieties. Nuclear weapons, for all their supposed deterrence, are also engines of uncertainty and fear. As Dr. Sumit Ganguly of Indiana University argues, nuclear deterrence does not guarantee strategic stability in South Asia. Second, the need for vigilance is not just military but civilian. Citizens, journalists, and activists in both India and Pakistan, and in interested countries like the US and China, have a role in demanding transparency. Civil society can pressure governments to clarify doctrines, establish lessons from near misses, and advocate for safety protocols. There's precedent. Think of the pivotal role played by scientists and public campaigns in the nuclear freeze movement of the 1980s. Third, everyone, regardless of where they live, should realize that nuclear instability anywhere is a problem everywhere. The fallout from a South Asian crisis, be it from war or accident, would reach far beyond the region, through economic shockwaves, refugee flows, and even global climate effects from a limited nuclear exchange. Is there hope amid all this danger? Absolutely. But it depends on informed engagement, innovation in diplomacy, and a refusal to be lulled by the myth of minimum credible deterrence. As an individual, what can you do? Stay informed, share credible information, and encourage debate that moves beyond stereotypes or nationalist rhetoric. When the world's attention drifts elsewhere, it's often precisely when the greatest risks are building. Support organizations that work for arms control, encourage platforms that host cross-border dialogue, and demand accountability from leaders, yours and theirs. This brings us full circle to the question we left hanging. Are we truly prepared for where this nuclear race is heading? Are our institutions, our judges, our scientists and soldiers, even our citizens, ready for the next crisis, one that could unfold at the speed of a missile launch? In truth, we're not fully prepared. The arms race on the subcontinent is developing faster than the diplomatic, technical, and ethical frameworks needed to manage it. China's technological support for Pakistan and the echoing steps by India have outpaced traditional arms control mechanisms and crisis hotlines. The world's attention keeps shifting from one flashpoint to another, but the dangers in South Asia are quietly, relentlessly growing. But here's a secret fact most people don't know. Some of the world's most sophisticated nuclear command and control systems, on both sides, still depend on Cold War-era technology, old phone lines, and human judgment in the fog of crisis. Amid all the talk of AI and next-generation missiles, a simple misunderstanding, a failed alert, or a garbled message could tip the balance. It's a sobering thought, and a call to action for everyone who cares about the planet's future. So what happens next depends on what we do, collectively and individually. The nuclear rivalry between India and Pakistan, shaped and sharpened by China's ambitions, is not a story with a neat ending. It's a challenge that demands vigilance, wisdom, and relentless engagement. We all have a stake in making sure the next chapter is not written in disaster. If this video opened your eyes to the nuclear realities unfolding in South Asia, don't let the story end here. Share this with someone who needs to know, comment with your thoughts and questions, and subscribe for more deep dive.